Hello and welcome to my capstone project for my Master's in Education program. Throughout the program, I've been interested in how technology can support learning. And because Mulgrave School fully embraces Google and its suite of apps, I decided a project on the Google Apps for Education seemed to be an excellent fit. I think using Google Apps is a great way to support learning. For example, using Google Docs and Google Slides is a great way to provide students with immediate feedback for their work. Using Google Classroom and Google Sites can provide a platform for teachers to easily share information and distribute assignments. A major benefit is that all the information is stored in the cloud, and so collaborative work can be done inside and outside of school. Also, teachers can keep students and parents alike up to date on what's going on in the classroom. There are a couple purposes for doing this project. One, I'd like to provide existing and incoming teachers with the ability to use some of the most powerful educational apps available in their classrooms. I know that with all the planning and administrative work that teachers have to undertake, there's really little time to learn how to use Google Apps properly. So I'm hoping that this resource will act as a quick reference for teachers to use Google Apps in their classroom. Second, I'm hoping that students will become even more familiar with the potential of each app. I think that students already have exposure to a lot of the Google apps while at school, but they don't know how to use it effectively. And so as teachers, we can show them how to do it and how to research properly and how to collaborate effectively. In the following videos, I'll be going over some of the specific tools and capabilities that Google Apps for Education offers. I've listed the different videos that I'm going over on the side and also in the video description below so that you can jump from one section to the next. I'll be going over some basic and advanced uses of Google Drive, how to quickly provide feedback on Google Docs, and how to do research on Google Docs and Google Slides. I'll be going over Google Sheets and Michael Moore's eMark book so that you can efficiently organize your grades. I'll go over some basic and advanced uses of Google Sites so that you can create your own website. Next, I'll show how to set up Google Classroom so that you have a virtual classroom for each of your classes. And finally, I'll show how to set up Google Calendar using color coding and how to set up your calendar for the year. I hope you find these videos useful. Enjoy! Hello, and today I'll be going over some aspects of Google Drive, some of the basic options and some of the advanced options. I will be going over creating new file folders and color coding them, sharing documents and sharing file folders, moving files to another folder, adding files to another folder, and advanced search options. Those will all be listed in the file description below. So starting with creating a new file folder. One thing to remember is when you're making your new file, if you want it to be made in your My Drive has to be highlighted. If anything else is highlighted, for example, if I'm highlighting my LLD 590 folder, that is where the folder will be created. But I want it to be created in My Drive, so I'll click on My Drive. Start with New, click on Folder. For other file options, like Google Docs or Google Sheets, it's also found under New. So for now, I want to make a new folder. Click on Folder, and I want to call it Test Folder. And if I scroll down in My Drive, here is my test folder. Now let's say I want it to be another color so that it stands out more. I right-click Test Folder, and under Change Color, I can change it to any color I like. So here I'll change it to red. Now you'll notice there's other options when I right-click. When I right-click, you'll see that there's also a Share button. Now if I want to share this with other people, share this particular folder, I can simply type in their Mulgrave address. So for example, if I want to share it with myself, I just type in their email, and there it is. If I want to type in more names, I just press add a comma, and I can add more names to it. Now I can give editing rights to other people. So the people that I have listed here can edit the folder. they can make changes, they can add additional files, they can delete files, and share with other people. If I do can view, the person that I share it with can only view the folder. They cannot make any changes to that particular file or to that particular folder. When you share it with them, you can also give them a side note, just a message to their email. Another option is you can get a shareable link. So if you copy this link and share it with another person, and they click it, they can view your particular folder. Now again, you can give them editing access so that anyone with this link can edit your folder or edit your files inside the folder. Or you can turn it off and list only specific people can access. So the people that I list down here are the only people who can access the file or folder, even if they have this link. There are more options. You can just turn it on completely and make it public, so anyone with the link, anybody, even people outside Mulgrave, can access this. At Mulgrave, we don't recommend sharing school folders with the public. Preferably only people with Mulgrave domains should be able to access your files and folders. So let's cancel that. And done. So let's move on to moving files to folders. So if you want to move a file, you can simply right-click your particular file. So right now I'm in my LLED 590 folder, and I have this particular mark book. And let's say I want to move it to my test folder. Now you can right-click this file and click Move To, and select your file location. Conversely, and it's much easier to simply move, drag, and drop the file into the test folder. So if I click that, you'll see in my test folder now, my markbook has been moved. But in my LLD 590 folder, that particular file is no longer there. So that's what move means. You move the entire file into this folder. So I'm going to move this back to LLD 590. And it is now back here. Now let's say I don't want to just simply move the file into my test folder. I want to have this file still located in my LLD 590 folder. Now what you can do is you can add a file to another folder. Now if you press Ctrl on your keyboard and click on the file, you'll see that on your cursor a plus sign comes up. That means you're adding this file into the test folder. So if I do that, you'll notice that it says copy of markbook has been added to the test folder. So in my LLD 590 folder, my markbook is still there, but if I go to my test folder, it is also there. And so now any changes that I make to this markbook in my test folder will be applied to my LLED 590 file. It is completely linked now. Also, if you delete this file in your test folder, the file in LLED 590 will also be deleted. So be careful when you're adding files to other folders. It is convenient to have things linked together, but remember that because it's linked together, any changes you make to this file will also be applied to your other folder. Now I'm going to move on to search functions using Google Drive. So when you're searching for files on Google Drive, it's very similar to using Google itself. You can use all the Boolean search terms, using AND, using OR, using the minus signs. So for example, if you want to search for a particular file, so let's say I'm looking for this file, LL18 590 video topics to be covered. And let's say I don't want a certain certain word in my search term. I can just remove, I can press minus untitled, so that I don't search for any untitled documents. So it removes this particular word from your search. Conversely, if I want to have a particular word inside my search, such as topics, now when it searches, it removes all files that have untitled in it from the search, and includes all files with the word topics. So as you can see, the first thing that comes up is this particular file. This will be useful when you have a lot of files in your Google Drive. Now if I click on this particular arrow, you'll see that more advanced options come up. So on this side here, you'll see that you can search for file types. So if you know the specific file type you're looking for, let's say it's a PDF, you'll see that at the top it comes up type : PDF. And so if I search for it, I won't be able to see LLED 590 video topics to be covered because this is a Google Doc. So if I go back and I click on text documents and I search again, then my LLED 590 video topic does come up. You can also search for a filter by date modified. So depending on when it was modified, you can also customize it, customize the range. Item name is simply what you search for up here, just the specific name of the file. If it has to have the words, has to have specific words, you can put them in here as well. For owner, you can choose to search for files that are owned by you, or not owned by you, or owned by specific people. Or if you don't really care, it can be owned by anyone. And so when it searches for the particular file, it'll you can specify who owns it. You can even search for who this file is shared with. So you can type in a name or you can type in an email address to filter it down. You can also search inside particular folders. So you can search inside your starred folder, your trash folder. If that doesn't matter to you, then you can search anywhere. And then you can click search and it'll start looking for your files. If you're not happy with that, you can click reset and then restart from the beginning. So those are the advanced search options using Google Drive. Next, I'm going to go over how to do research on Google Docs. Now, normally when we tell students to do research, they might open up a new tab and type in their topic into the Google search bar. That is one way to go about it, but on Google Docs, there is actually an integrated research tool function that they can use. And you just click on Tools, Research, and built right in is a Google search bar. Something that I've been teaching students to use to narrow down their sources and to find more credible sources is the cite command. So if they type in cite : and something like edu, it will only look for websites that end in edu, in other words, educational websites only. And then they can type in their topic. So they'll only find educational websites on the topic of water usage. Another ending that I teach students to use is GOV, which is government. And so these government websites include data that are perhaps collected by government bodies. And so the websites that they use here may be more credible. Another option they can use is the images option. Again, this is the image searching function that the Google search engine has. And if I type in water usage, I'll find a whole bunch of images. I can filter these images one, by either not filtering by license at all, or two, only look for images that are free to use, share, or modify. And I can click that, and all these images are free to use and free of copyright restrictions. So if I want to use this particular picture, I can just drag and drop it. And I'll have this image in my Google Doc, and you'll see a footnote here, and it shows the link to this picture. And it's in either MLA, APA, or Chicago, so you can choose which citation format you use. Another really powerful tool is the Scholar option. If I use this option, Google will only search for scholarly articles. So if I look at this first website here, and I click on PDF, it will open up the journal article in a PDF format. If I click on Cited by 219, it will open up a Google search page with all the articles that have cited this particular journal article. So then I can expand my sources here and expand my search results here. If I want to cite this article, I can cite it either as a footnote, right here, see 2, and it'll show up at the bottom in MLA format, which is what Mulgrave uses. Or if you wish to choose APA or Chicago, it can do that as well. Alternatively, you can insert the citation directly into your Google Doc. The research tool also has other functions, such as quotes. So if I wish to have quotes from famous people, for example, let's try Einstein, you can find quotes by that particular person and insert it. Another option is the dictionary tool, where you can simply punch in a word and it'll show you the definition. Personal searches everything from your Google Drive. And you'll also find it searches through Gmail. And finally, tables. Let's go back to water usage. Will give you data tables collected by various organizations that you can export into a sheet. So if I click export, it'll pull up a Google search, and I can click export to sheets, and this data will be exported to a spreadsheet. So if students ever need to collect data, they can easily do this and export all the data into a Google spreadsheet in a few clicks. If they then want to cite this information, they can click Cite, and there will be a footnote, and at the bottom there will be the citation, which is in MLA format. Again, you can choose to change the format if you wish. Next, I'm going to go over how to deformat Google Docs and quickly add comments so that it'll speed up marking of essays and projects and assessments. So let's say a student hands in a document that looks something like this, with the font at a different size and a different color and different type. You can quickly deformat everything by pressing ctrl \. Now, let's say you want to start commenting on a student's document. It's very easy to move left and right between words by holding onto Control and pressing left and right. It'll jump words by doing this. Pressing Control up and down jumps paragraphs. If you hold onto Control and Shift at the same time and press left and right, you'll highlight entire words. or de-highlight. If you press Ctrl-Shift up and down, it'll highlight entire paragraphs. Once you've highlighted words or a sentence that you want to make a comment on, you can then press this Add a Comment box. Or if you're trying to add it very quickly, you can just press Ctrl-Alt-M and add your comment there. Again, you can click Comment to post the comment, or to do it quickly, Control-Enter. Now, if you've made a mistake and you don't want to have this comment, you can quickly undo it by pressing Ctrl-Z, and that undoes the comment. Conversely, if you want to redo the comment, you can press Ctrl-Y, and that brings back your comment. And if you make a comment box that you don't want to create, you can always click Cancel or press Escape to cancel. And using these shortcuts will quickly add to the efficiency to your commenting in Google Docs. The next thing I want to go over is seeing the file revision history. Now, let's say you're sharing documents with a whole bunch of people, and many changes have been made, and you want to see who made the changes. You can do this by clicking on File, See Revision History, and you'll be able to see on what date the changes were made and who made the changes. And you can restore this particular revision by clicking Restore this revision. So this is a good way to see if students working in a group are working together and contributing in the group. In regards to the comments, the commenting shortcuts, I will add the shortcut commands below in the video description. In this section, I'm just going to go over some functions of Google Slides. Now, you may have a lot of PowerPoint files stored in your Google Drive, but Google has the power to convert your PowerPoints into Google Slides. So you'll notice that Google Drive was able to convert this PowerPoint file into a Google Slide file. If you go back to Google Drive, a new copy was created out of this PowerPoint file. Now, going back to this Google Slide file, a lot of the functions in Google Slides match up with the Google Docs functions. So for example, you are able to research and use Google Scholar and all of the other functions that I went over before. Furthermore, you can check revision history by pressing File, See Revision History. You can also comment on entire slides by pressing Ctrl-Alt-M, or you can comment on individual boxes by clicking on the box and pressing Ctrl-Alt-M, typing your comment, and pressing Ctrl-Enter. To make a new slide, just press Ctrl-M. And if you're not happy with this layout, you can go to Slide, Apply Layout, and change into a variety of different layouts. You can also change the theme of your slides. And on the right-hand side, there's a variety of themes that you can choose. These options can also be found in a quick access bar over here. You can also add transitions to your slides so that when you change slides, they fade or they slide from right, slide from left, flip when you are in presentation mode, which you can access up here by pressing Present or pressing Ctrl plus F5 together. In this section, I'm going to go over how to use the eMark book created by Mike Moore of the Science Department. This spreadsheet is really handy in helping you organize all of your assessments, and they're organized into criterion, depending on each column. I will provide a link to this spreadsheet in the video description below. If you ever need to create a duplicate of this eMark book, you simply right-click the bottom and click Duplicate, and you'll get another copy of this. So you can make one for each of your classes. You can also rename the document into the section that you wish. First things first, on the left-hand side, you need to get the names of your students. So in order to do that, you have to go to PCR. Make sure you're clicked into middle school. You click on Reports, Report List, Class List. You can choose your course here. The type is Course List, and you click Execute. Then you copy and paste your names on the left-hand side. By the end of Term 1, your markbook would look something like this. You've got your assessments based on the criterion into each column here, and you've got the students' grades. Now, you would put your students' levels here, depending on their on the criterion, and then based on this number that is added from A, B, C, and D, you look at this conversion table and decide on their level of achievement for Term 1. By the end of Term 2, you would have filled out the entire markbook sheet, and you would be able to do the same thing for Term 2. This is their Term 2 grade for each criterion. And then again, you'll be able to figure out their Term 2 level of achievement by adding up the numbers and looking at the conversion table. Then based on their Term 1 and Term 2 levels of achievement, you can decide their final level of achievement. The end of Term 1 is around February, and the end of Term 2 is at the end of June. If you ever need to comment on a student's progress, you can simply do so by pressing Ctrl-Alt-M. Then to enter the comment, you can press Ctrl-Enter. That way you can make comments for each of your students, and if you highlight the cell, you will see the progress of this particular student. In this section, I'm going to go over the basics of creating a Google website and showing you the various functions that are available. Starting off, you can go to Google Drive or any other Google website. Usually there are 9 boxes at the top. You click on it, and you click on Sites. If Sites doesn't show up, click on More, and you'll see more options, and Sites will likely be there. When you're ready, click Create, and you can choose a blank template for your website, or you can choose public ones that are available to use. Name your website something unique. Make sure it's not taken. And the name of your website will also be your entire domain name. So it's going to be the Mulgrave website plus what you just named it. You can also select themes to add to your website. Once your website's been created, you'll see your home page here. Now you'll likely not only make just one page on your website, so anytime you have to make a new page, you click Create Page. When you need to edit your page, you click on the pencil, which edits, turns on the editor. And I'm just going to show you now a few functions that you can do through Google websites. The first thing I'm going to show you is simply creating a link on your website. So, for example, you can type in unit outline, and you highlight this, and you go to the top here, and you click on Add or Remove Link. Now, I normally add files from Google Drive, so you can click on Web Address, and you'll have to go back to Google Drive. Let's say you're looking for your unit outline, and it's saved in Google Drive. You search for your unit outline, right-click the unit outline that you want to share, and you can click on Share. And here is your shareable link. So you can copy this link here, copy it, and go back to your homepage here, paste the link, and click OK. And so now your link is shared, and anytime a student clicks on this link, if this file is shared with a student, they will be able to see it. If it is not shared, then it'll actually tell the student to ask for permission. So make sure your page is shared. You can also right-click and get the shareable link. It's the same thing. I just wanted to show you both ways of doing it. The other option you can do is embedding the document itself into your web page. And this is a very powerful tool because it saves some students from clicking on additional links, and they can just see the direct form. So you go to Insert, Drive, and you want to insert a document. You can also insert other things such as drawings, forms, images, folders, presentations, spreadsheets, and videos through Google Drive. And it's the same method that I showed you. You click on the document, and you take the link like you did before, and you paste it. You can decide the height and width of your document and some other options here. You can include a title or not. And then you click Save. And then you'll get this document embedded into your web page. You can decide to align it however you like. It is the width of the page, so when I save it, it'll take up the entire page. But you'll see here that they can see the entire document. Same thing goes for presentations, same thing goes for videos. You simply take the link, paste it in, and you'll get the document or video or whatever you like. Now, if you wish to insert YouTube videos, that's also very easy to do. You simply go to Insert, YouTube, and find the link and paste it in. And then you can choose the size of your video. Next, I'm going to show how to insert Google Calendars into Google websites. First thing you have to do is go to your Google Calendar app and make sure you've got your calendar created. So under My Calendars, I've created Science 8-2 already. Now I have to make sure it's shared with everybody. So I click on the arrow and click Share this calendar. I've got Share this calendar with everyone in the organization Mulgrave School checked off, which means that students and teachers who have a Mulgrave email address will be able to see this calendar. If I want parents to see this calendar, I need to check off Make this calendar public because they do not have Mulgrave email addresses. I can click Save, and now I can go back to my web page, click Insert, Calendar, check off Science 8-2, edit the height and width options or display options, save, save, and now you'll see the calendar embedded. Now, if I want students to see what homework is coming up next, I can go back to my calendar, double click on this particular day, in this case June 30th, double click, and I can add my homework assignments here. So finish page 60. And then I click Save, and I only want to edit this event. Now I go back to my web page, and I click on this event. Nothing is shown yet, but once I refresh, it will show up. And students will also be able to see this because it is a public calendar. Same with parents, it's a public calendar, so they'll be able to see the homework that's coming up next. Now, if I want to add a calendar that is not my own, For example, the assessment calendars, I need to first copy the link, which I will provide in the video description below. And then I have to go back to my calendar, and under other calendars, because this is not your own calendar, click on the arrow, click add by URL, and paste the link that you had just copied. And then you click add calendar. Once you've added the calendar, you'll see below here the assessment calendars have shown up under other calendars. Now I can do the same thing that I did before by inserting the calendar and choosing the grade 8 assessment calendar. Again, I can choose the options here, display options below, save, save, and now my grade 8 assessment calendar shows up. The assessment calendars include all the assessments that are due in all the different classes. So because this is a public calendar, all the teachers have access to it, and all the teachers add to it so that students know when all the assessments are due for each of their classes. So I include both the assessment calendar and my own calendar on my website. Another benefit of these calendars is that students and parents can add the calendar to their own calendar. So you'll see on the bottom right hand side of each calendar, they can simply click on it and add the calendar to their own calendar. They don't have to go through the hassle of copying the link and manually adding it to their own calendar. They just have to click on this button. Now I'm going to go over some cosmetic functions that Google Site has so that you can better organize your website. So when you first start, I personally like to go to the site layout and set up horizontal navigation, and also get rid of the sidebar. This is all up to you, but I personally like to have my tabs up at the top. And when I close it, my options and tabs are up here. Now, when I go to my own website, once you've created enough pages, you'll have these tabs up at the top. And when I click on Edit Site Layout, I can click on the top and I can organize my pages like so. This is my home page. This is my course outline. If I wanted to change the order of it, I could simply just move it up and down, and that would change the order of the pages. If I wanted to make this course outline page as a sub-page to my home page, I could just click on this side arrow here, the right arrow, and it will make it a sub-page. But I don't want to do that, so I'll go back. Also, going back to this test page here, you can choose the type of layouts that you want to use. So when I click Edit Page, you can go to Layout, and the box here does not necessarily just have to be one box. You can make it a 2-column box, or you can make it a 3-column box with an extra box up top here, so that you can work out your spacing. In this section, I'm going to explain how to use Google Classroom and how to set up a classroom and invite students and other teachers. So starting off in Google Drive, click on the 9 squares. Google Classroom doesn't show up here, so click on More, and at the bottom, click on Classroom. When you're ready to start a new class, on the top right hand side there's a plus sign. You can click Create Class, and create your class. Once your class is created, if you scroll down, on the left hand side you'll see a class code. Now I'm going to switch over to the student screen and enter this code. Now you'll see that I have joined the class as a student. and I am the teacher. As a student, there's a few things that he or she can do. So on the bottom right hand side, this person can create a post and post things to the stream. They can also see who their classmates are and see what this class is about. On the top left hand side, there's a main menu, and students can see all their classes and a calendar. So this calendar lists all of the assignments that are coming up from all of their classes. Now let's go back to the teacher view. As a teacher, you also have several options. On the bottom right hand side, you'll see that you can create questions for your students. You can reuse posts from before. You can create assignments for your students, and then you can create announcements in your stream. So I'll first show you how to create an assignment. So let's call this Science Lab Report. You can set the due date here. Default is set for tomorrow, or you can choose another date. You can also set the time. If there's any attachments that you want to provide the student, you can upload files from your computer. You can upload files from Google Drive. If there are any tutorial videos you want to show, you can upload YouTube videos. And if you want to attach a link, for example, you can paste the link and click Add. I'm going to add a file from Google Drive. And I'm going to click Add. So right here, students can view this particular file, and you can also allow students to edit the file. Normally I wouldn't select this option. You can also make a copy for each student, and when you're ready you can click Assign. Now the assignment has been created, and it's called the Science Lab Report. Students will be able to see this link, and each student will receive this lab report rubric or whatever handout that you need to hand out. You'll see that my one student has not finished the assignment, and if it is handed in late, you will also see that. Let's go back to the students view now. Now I had to refresh the page in order to see the new assignment, but it has been posted, and now I can open this assignment. So as you can see, my link is here, the one that my teacher shared with me, and I can start working on my assignment. So I can create a new Google Doc, or I can create other forms of media and start working on my assignment. I can also add files that I've created through Google Drive from my computer or from a website. Once I am finished, I can click Turn In, and all these documents will be turned in, and they will be view only for the student. They cannot edit once they have turned in the file unless they unsubmit the document and edit it again and then turn it in again. If they have any questions for the teacher, they can always add a private comment, and the teacher will receive an email saying that the student has posted something. Conversely, they can add a class comment, and this would be posted to the class where everyone can see it. When the student is ready to turn it in, he can click Turn In. And going back to the teacher's screen, if I refresh, we will see that the student has turned it in and has completed it on time. If it was done late, it would say so here. So now let's go back to the student screen. If the student's unhappy with the work, this person can still unsubmit their work and resubmit once they're happy with it. If they hand it in before the due date, then it won't be late. If they hand it in after, then it would be considered late. Let's go back to the teacher screen. Another option that teachers have is to create announcements. Now let's say you want to share a really cool video with your students. You can simply go to the YouTube button, and you can find YouTube videos using the search bar here. Or if you have the URL, you can paste it and add the link. You can also add files from your computer, add files from Google Drive, or add any links that you find from the internet. If this is also a post that you want to add to your other classes, you can do so, and multiple announcements can be made through several classes. So now it's been posted, and if I go to my students account, it is now here. The last thing I want to go over will be inviting other teachers to your classroom. So going back to the teacher's account, you click on About, and right here you can click Invite Teacher, and you can search for the teachers here. So for example, you might find any of the learning support teachers who you might want to provide access to. Once they have accepted, those teachers will have access to your assignment folders. Furthermore, if you ever need to invite students who join in the middle of the year, they can either join via the class code, or you can just invite them by searching for their email. If a student has left your class, you can also click on Actions and remove this student. Finally, as a cosmetic factor, you can always choose your theme and change the photo that is in the background here by uploading photos. Google Classroom also lets you reuse posts from before. So for example, if you've done a science lab the year before, you can select one of your archived classes and reuse a previous post. And you can tell Google Classroom to create new copies of all the attachments that you provided before, and then click Reuse. The other function that Google Classroom has is the ability to create a question to ask a class or multiple classes. So for example, you might ask, what is the area of a circle? And you can set a due date for the students. They can answer via short answer or multiple choice, in which case you would fill out the options. You can also assign it to multiple classes. So if you have multiple science or socials or whichever classes, then you can assign to multiple classes. Again, you can attach files from your computer from Google Drive, add a video, or post a link, and when you're done, you click Ask. And it shows up here. Let's see what the student sees. And so the student sees the question here, and they can type in their answer and submit. And on the teacher screen, you will see that the student has submitted, and you'll be able to see all the students who have provided answers. In here. You can also provide feedback to the student via a reply. In this section, I'm going to go over how to set up your Google Calendar, including how to set up appointment slots and also how to set up tasks. So starting with your calendar, you simply double-click a slot on your calendar and type in your class. Punch in your start and end times and click on repeat because you're going to repeat every 2 weeks since Mulgrave is on a 10-day schedule. You can also click on repeat on between Monday to Friday if any of your classes overlap at the same time. Starts on August the 29th, that's fine. And you want to set an end date to November the 7th because we have our 1 week break at that point. I'll post in the video descriptions all the breaks that we have throughout the year. You can also put in the location of your class. Sometimes classes occur in different classrooms. And you can also set the event color. So you can color code all of your different classes. So now it's set up and you'll see that every other week this class shows up. So once you've set that up, you'll notice that you've got classes showing up on a 10-day rotation. And then on the week off, it is no longer there, and then it comes back. If you ever need to make changes to your calendar, you simply go to the left-hand side and click on the arrow. And if you ever need to change the colors, you can click on it here. You can hide this calendar from the rest of your list. You can even share this calendar with your students. And that is something I showed earlier in the other video, embedding Google Calendar in your Google website. Next, I'm going to go over how to set up appointment slots so that, for example, if parents miss parent-teacher conferences, they can still set up a personal appointment with you. In order to create an appointment slot, you simply click on one of the boxes, click Appointment Slots, and for example, it can be for the parent-teacher meeting. The time you can choose, and you can also change when you go to Edit Details, right here. And you want the calendar to be in your calendar. Now, normally parent-teacher meetings last only 10 to 15 minutes, so you can simply press 10 minutes here and change the amount of time each slot will take up. Most importantly, though, you want to share this link with the parents. So you can email this out to parents via PCR. But if you feel that the link is a bit long, you can always shorten the link and customize it and send out a shortened customized link to your parents. Save. And then you can send this link out to your parents. You can further add more appointment slots by clicking on other boxes and adding in more slots. Now, when parents click on your link, this is what they will see. And so when they click on one of these, they will schedule a 10-minute meeting with you, and all the information is here to book an appointment, and then they can simply click Save, and then they'll be able to see this on their calendar now. And a notification will also be sent to your email. The last thing I want to go over with Google Calendars is just setting up a task list. So on the left-hand side, you have a tasks list that you can set up. And on the bottom right hand side, you can add a task. So for example, students can finish page 61 of workbook. And they can add a due date, which is July 30th, and go back to their list. And so on July 30th, their task shows up, and that is when it is due. And when they're done, they can check it off, and it crosses off. And this can be an ongoing thing that students can continually update and use throughout the year to keep track of their assignments.